Welcome to the studio. Chef Gordon Rader here again to talk about potatoes. Well, we're going to do something simple with potatoes. You know, you want a bag of chips. You go to the store and you pick up some Lay's. Lay's are great chips, right? All natural. You can't just eat one. But these are even better. A very simple process, and I want to introduce you to a Japanese mandolin. Not the mandolin that you play, but the slicer. Now, you could probably get a cheap one, $5, $6, $7, $10 at Walmart. But you want to make sure that you're able to get a really thin slice, okay? And the cheap ones obviously aren't going to last as long, and they'll probably rust. This is about $35. You can get it on Amazon.com. I don't see them locally. But again, it's a Japanese mandolin. Benriner is the name. And basically, you get a super thin slice, and that's what you want for potato chips. So I've got 3 Idaho Bakers. These are 80 count. In other words, 80 the case. You can get a big one if you want, but I like this size for chips. And I've washed them ahead of time. And on the back of this guy, you can see there's a little adjustment here. You can run this up or down, and I don't know whether you can see from that camera angle, but if you move this little knob either to the left or to the right, and you watch how this piece right here moves to the left or to the right or up and down, you can adjust to the size that you want. You can cut bigger things too, but I like this for fries because you can get a really thin cut. So, now you got to watch your fingers on this too. You've really got to watch your fingers on this too. Let's go ahead and see how thick we can go. So this is really super thin. You can see right now how these are coming off. And I have a bowl of water with me because you want to try to go immediately into a water bath because there's a lot of starch in these. And the real trick, and I'll see if I can get an angle so there's a little bit better shot. So you see these are really paper thin, very, very thin. And that's the trick. There's a lot of starch. You want to try to get some of the starch out of there, okay, because you want a nice crisp chip. And so as we move down, be sure to pull your fingers back. You can't talk to your mother-in-law while you're doing this because it's quite dangerous. You know, if she comes in the kitchen, just change the subject and move on to tell her to move. Okay, look at that, perfectly thin. And this would be great for a lot of different things too. You think about, you could take these potatoes and make a nice au gratin with it. That's another story, another video. We'll go ahead and continue to slice this. What I normally like to do is put about a tablespoon of vinegar, white vinegar, for every gallon of water. And then do these the day before and let these set overnight. And you certainly don't have to. You can go ahead and go right to the fryer, but go ahead and get some of this excess starch off. Give them a few minutes. Throw in a couple of ice cubes. That's another trick because that'll really crisp the potatoes because that's what you want to have happen. And then a drain, and then right to the fryer, and that's what we're going to do next. So I've drained these, and I put them on a towel because I want to try to absorb as much of the liquid because obviously going into the hot oil, there's a danger of the splatter, and it's not fun to get burned with hot oil. So now, obviously, this is a professional deep fat fryer, and I think you've looked at some of the other videos we've had when we've deep fat fried. I got a small pot on the stove with vegetable oil, Crisco, canola oil, peanut oil, whatever you prefer, and a thermometer to gauge the temperature. Or again, we talk about cooking and thinking and watching how the oil reacts when you add product to it. And I go ahead and just pull these apart as I put them in so they don't stick together, see? And the longer you let these set in your acidulated water, we talked about a little bit of vinegar, preferably overnight, you're going to get a really crispy product. Now initially, you see how the foam on the top of this shows me that I still have some starch in there. When you do this at home, you're going to have to let these set for 24 hours overnight. 8 hours is enough. You're not going to get this reaction. Nonetheless, these are going to crisp up really nice. And again, you want to try to move them back. If you're in a small pot or pan that you're using on the stove, go ahead and have a spider, a ladle, or some tongs, or even a fork that's long, and you can move back and forth through the oil gently, not to break them up. But that works the same function as this basket shake, and I'm sure most of us have worked at the burger shop at some point when we were in high school or junior high, and we know what it's like to fry the fries and cook some burgers. So you can see we're starting to get a little bit of an initial brown on the top. This usually takes 2 to 5, depending on what kind of oil you're using, and again, the weather and the planetary alignments and who's over for dinner that night. All has an effect on the food. So you're getting that natural shape. And these are fun to do, and people don't think about it. Again, we go pick up a bag, but how long did this take us? I mean, it took us no time at all. And you've always got those 3 or 4 potatoes sitting in the bottom of the fridge, in the bottom of your pantry. And don't keep them in the fridge. Keep them outside in the ambient temperature in your kitchen in a box. They'll less likely not sprout, and you can not have those big eyes. You want to clean those out if you've got them. Look at that. That's a natural chip. It's forming that natural chip piece. Then we're going to get rid of these. We're going to go and take them out. We're going to drain them off a little bit. I like to put them back onto a towel to absorb any of the excess grease because we're obviously health conscious, right? You don't have any extra grease. I like to leave a little bit on there for the season to stick. And then think about the seasoning combinations. I'm going to use a little seasonal. Lowry's is a great product you can pick up. But what about ranch chips? Just get a packet of ranch dressing mix. Open it up and sprinkle it on your chips and then toss them. And I'll show you the tossing technique in here in just a second. Barbecue seasoning. Asian chips with 5-spice powder. That's really amazing. I mean, I've done that at home. Or just plain salt, pepper. Italian seasoning, pizza style. I mean, you know, the combinations are endless. And you've probably got all these things in your pantry anyway. So look at this. Very nice. Real chips. So we'll go ahead and put them into our bowl. And again, with a little paper there, and you may not be able to see because of the pink napkin. That's Petunia's pink napkin from the house there, right? And we're going to go back over and season these. So now I've got those drained, and you can hear the crispy. Those are really good. And I put them in another container, okay? And a little bit of seasonal. And again, think about all the things you can do. And you can get the Lowry's. This is Farmer Brothers. I love Farmer Brothers coffee. All quality restaurants serve Farmer Brothers. And that's a plug for them because I've worked with them for a long, long time. And it's excellent coffee and excellent spices. So, a little seasoning, toss, come back with a little bit more. So that's okay. My hypertension's not to the point where I can't have I'll put a little bit of extra salt on it. And I'm going to go ahead and get a plate so you can see these hopefully a little bit. Look at that. Now those are great potato chips. And you saw how easy it was. And your kids will be asking for them every night, well, your husband too, so, get prepared to do that. But it's a fun way to, use up some leftover things in the kitchen. Potato, simple, crunch, look at that, perfect. So, hopefully you'll try them out and you'll come back to the studio soon to see what we're going to cook up. Thanks for joining us.